What's going on, Collider Games fans? I'm Caboose, and today what I got for you guys here is my official review for Crackdown 3. Now, for some people, this has been a sequel that they have been anticipating for a very long time, for both the reason of the fact that they may be fans of the Crackdown series, and maybe as well they are big fans of the Xbox console, and they're looking for an exclusive. For others, this has been a bit of a dreaded one. You know, some people may not be looking forward to this, and I want to speak on both perspectives here. So here's the thing, okay? When you load into Crackdown 3, when you first get into the game and you start up the story, you get this insane cutscene that is so good and will hype you up. Terry Crews is yelling at you, getting you ready to kick ass, and it's the perfect way to introduce you to this game and get you ready for the fight. But that is all you get. There is nothing like that opening intro for the rest of the game. In fact, the rest of the game really is just tedious side missions that rinse and repeat themselves until you reach an okay boss battle, and it also doesn't help that you really need to level up your agility before you can actually feel some speed in this game. For a while, all you're going to be doing is just hijacking cars if you want to get from one destination to another, because your character moves or feels like he moves so slow. Listen, there is quite a few things that I don't like about Crackdown 3, but I don't want to jump into that just yet. I want to talk about the things that I do like about the game, okay? Because there are a few things that I enjoyed in the hours that I've put in. The movement, once you do upgrade your agility a little bit, because, you know, you have to go through that whole process, does get a lot better, and it feels pretty good once you actually upgrade it. You know, once you have the ability to double jump and to do an air dash and all that fun stuff, then you're going to start to feel a little bit of the speed when you're in combat or when you're just jumping from building to building trying to collect more of those agility tokens or those hidden tokens. And speaking of those, they're incredibly addicting to go out and collect. You know, it's so much fun to see a token up in the sky and to try and kind of figure out the puzzle to how to get it. So I really enjoyed that, and I had a lot of fun with it. And overall, that was one of the best aspects of the game, and that does come back from the previous Crackdown games. So if anyone's a fan of that stuff, it's all here still in Crackdown 3, so you're going to have a lot of fun with that as well. The driving in the game, while it does take some time to get used to, can be actually a little bit of fun. There were some really cool races around the city when you start to unlock them that can be really enjoyable if you start to get a hang of how the driving works and how to drift and everything like that. So I overall enjoyed the mechanics there, and there are some pretty cool cars that you can get, especially if you level up your driving skills. You can unlock like pretty much a Batmobile. It is awesome. And overall, I did enjoy as well the different kind of weapons that you can get. There is some serious destruction and some havoc that you can cause with some of the really cool weapons. Some of them are just scattered and hidden around the city. Some of them you will just find after you take down an enemy. And then there are a few that you will unlock as you start to level up your abilities over and over. And yeah, like I said, oh my goodness, the amount of destruction you can cause with some of these weapons, it is awesome. It is a lot of fun. You can go into some of these enemy bases and just mow down an entire wave of enemies with some of these weapons. So that is definitely an aspect returning from Crackdown 1 and 2 that is very much here in Crackdown 3, so that's great. The graphics look just fine. There are going to be some people out there who are going to tell you, oh no, this game looks like crap. This looks like garbage. You know, it's 2019 and we have games that looks like this. Honestly, this is the Crackdown style. This is the aesthetic of the games. It's looking how it's supposed to look. It's not supposed to be some masterpiece, some huge advancement in graphics technology for video games or anything. It's just supposed to have this cartoony style. So the aesthetic of the Crackdown games is still here in Crackdown 3. Don't let anyone tell you that this game looks like crap, because that means they're just not a fan of the series. You know, the game is looking how it is supposed to look. As long as Terry Crews looks like Terry Crews, we are all good. And another positive, you can play as Terry Crews. I think that is awesome. I love all the marketing around his character in this game. I thought that was great. He is a big part of what I love about that opening cutscene for the game. He's amping you up, he's hyping you up, and he's also this badass like sergeant kind of character that you don't want to mess with. It is awesome. I love it. Here's the thing though about Terry Crews, if we're going to get into my negatives. When you pick his character, because there are different characters that you can pick, and some of them are just random agents, whereas Terry Crews is an actual character that has a name and everything. He's introduced in that opening cutscene, and he seems to be, you know, one of the top agents. He seems to be a very important person in the agency. At least that's how he's presented in that opening cutscene. So when you pick him, it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of who I'm going to be for the rest of the game. Absolutely not. After that opening cutscene, when you actually start to play as your character, as Terry Crews' character, you're just treated as a normal agent, and you don't talk at all for the rest of the game. I don't like when games do this. I know that the previous Crackdown games had this same exact system where you are just an agent, you're leveling up your character so that you can be more badass, and it's really about the gameplay more than it's about the story. But I honestly thought when we got to play as Terry Crews and to see how big of a deal he was in that opening cutscene, that maybe we would get a little bit of that personality interjected into the story. You know, all you really get out of that character when you're playing the game is some very faint lines he will say when you're mowing down enemies and everything, which is fine. But I was wishing for just a little bit more, especially out of having Terry frickin' Crews in the game. He is such an awesome dude in real life. He has such a personality, and I would have loved to see more of that shine in this game beyond just the opening cutscene. And yeah, like I said at the top of the review, there really is no story here. Not that I was expecting anything, but I was expecting just a little bit. You know, really all that we got here is just, first of all, a ton, and I mean a ton of exposition right off the start. The first hour or two that you play Crackdown 3, you're going to be finding different little objectives, different little missions that you can do, and every time you find a new one, the character that talks to you over the intercoms will introduce you to who the main bad guy is for that specific objective and what he's all about and what's going on with this specific objective and what you got to be doing, and then you can jump into it and play it. Then you got to do that thing, that objective 10 times until you reach the boss battle, where if you've leveled up enough and have your character buffed up enough, you can take down the boss fairly easily. And after you just take down the boss, you don't got to worry about all the rest of the minions lying around. The mission will end, and that'll be that for that objective. And then there's like 10 other objectives where it's that exact same formula. You complete it 10 times until you reach the boss battle, and that's it. Listen, I'm not looking for the most advanced story. I know at the end of the day, Crackdown is really all about the gameplay and just enjoying yourself and, you know, destroying enemies and shooting people down. But I was really hoping for just a little something here. You know, you got a big actor like Terry Crews. I was really hoping they were going to utilize that and give us just a bit of a story. Just a little bit. But we got pretty much nothing. There is a co-op campaign and a multiplayer mode known as the Wrecking Zone. I didn't get a chance to play the co-op campaign. I didn't have anyone who had a review copy as well that I could play with, but I did play a little bit of the Wrecking Zone, and I gotta say, it's just okay. It feels like a little bit of wasted potential there, honestly. I'll tell you, my biggest problem with it right now is that you cannot invite your friends to play with you, which is insane. Now, it's being reported that they are working on that. The devs are working on that feature to make sure that it will be in the game, but I don't know why that wasn't priority number one before even launching the multiplayer, to make sure that people can invite their friends to play with them in the Wrecking Zone. So maybe after we can actually invite our friends to play the Wrecking Zone, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But until then, you know, all I can really say is what I've already said, is that it feels like wasted potential. You know, I want to be able to play with my friends to be able to fully experience it properly. So until then, I'll reserve my full judgment. But alright, let's wrap things up. Crackdown 3 really is just more Crackdown. It is nothing you wouldn't be expecting if you've played a ton of the franchise. And I did enjoy Crackdown 1 and 2. I didn't play the hell out of them, but I played them quite a bit. So there is some things that I enjoyed about this game. And I'll tell you what, if you're on the fence about whether or not to get the game, whether or not to try it out, even after this review, whether it swayed you one way or the other, I'd say give it a shot simply through the Game Pass. Game Pass is a service on Xbox where you spend like $10 a month and you get a ton of games through it, and Crackdown 3 is going to be available on the Game Pass. So if you want, you can essentially rent the game for a full month and experience everything it has to offer for just $10. And if that's enough for you, you can cancel your subscription and that's it. You've played Crackdown 3 and you've tried it out. But the Game Pass is a really cool service. There are a lot of awesome games there. So you'll probably see that if you haven't already purchased the Game Pass or been using that subscription service, that there is some really cool things offered up there. But like I said, $10 for 1 month. That's enough time for you to experience everything you want to with Crackdown 3. And if you're not feeling it, just cancel your subscription and you'll be good to go. I'm going to give Crackdown 3 a 7 out of 10. It is not horrible. It is not like a mess or a disaster or anything. And it's just fine. For $10, really can't go wrong. And that's it. That's my review for Crackdown 3. Now I'm going to kick it to you guys. Have you had a chance to play the game just yet? Are you looking forward to the game? I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments section below. And of course, if you enjoyed this review, a positive rating would be appreciated. And you can subscribe to the Collider Games channel for more gaming coverage. I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.